Do any of you have a place in the world where you feel like home? No matter it not being your hometown, growing up town, or even a place you have visited before. But as soon as you step out of your car, your train, or the airport, you feel at ease. You feel good. And that feeling never goes away, no matter how many times you leave and come back to the same place. For me, that place is Kerala, specifically Kochi. Over 2000 kilometers away from my hometown Delhi and over 3000 kilometers away from my birth town Ludhiana. But the very first home that I had of my own was in Kochi. The minute I stepped foot here back in 2019, I was captivated by the streets, the food, the culture, the amazing cinema, and the plethora of palm trees, my absolute favorite kind of tree. And last but not the least, the hospitable people. I was never made to feel like an outsider, even after the glaring incompatibilities in language. But everyone was so kind and welcoming that stayed with me ever since. And of course, how can I forget the water? Not only by the beach, but also the seamless ways in which the water has seeped into the city and is now an inhabitant itself. Kochi is more than just a city. It's a living, breathing testament to centuries of trade, migration, and transformation. Every corner of this place tells a story, whether it's in the ancient streets of Fort Kochi, the markets, or the hidden coves of natural beauty. पता है, मुझे हमेशा से ट्रैवल करने का शौक रहा है और इंडिया में घूम के वो शौक पूरा होता रहा. My hunger for seeing new worlds was satiated simply by traveling around in the country because we are so diverse. यहाँ हर एक स्टेट की हिस्ट्री और कल्चर इतना रिच है and Kerala is no exception and in fact has a very very fascinating history. Did you know that the oldest sign of human life in this state dates back to the times of Indus Valley civilization? A menhir was found here and that stone was found here that dates back to Indus Valley civilization days, and there is reason to believe that there was communication between people of this land and people of the Indus Valley. Kochi or Ernakulam was the site of Muziris, an ancient port city that is talked about in the early Sangam literature, which dates back to around 300 BC. Now that's pretty old. The exact location of this port has been in debate. People from all over the world would be trading here. A description of Muziris in one of the Sangam poems goes something like this. The city where the beautiful vessels, the masterpieces of the Yavanas, stir white foam on the Kulli or the Periyar as we know it now, a river of the Chera, arriving with gold and departing with pepper, when that Musiri, brimming with prosperity, was besieged by the din of war. I must mention, if you are interested in poetry and literature at all, you should check out Sangam literature, which originates from around Tamil Nadu, but its traces can also be seen in the land of Kerala and a little bit in the neighboring states as well. Another Tamil poem describing Muziris at that time goes something like this. With its streets, its houses, its covered fishing boats where they sell fish, with the shifting and mingling crowd of a boisterous river bank. The city that bestows wealth to its visitors indiscriminately. Yes, this Mussoorie, where the rumbling ocean roars, is given to me like a marvel, a treasure. However, the ending of the history of the Port Muziris is a bit ambiguous. It disappeared from every known map without a trace. presumably because of an event that took place in 1341, which could be cyclone that altered the geography of the region. The spirit of Muziris is still alive in modern Kochi in the form of the Kochi Muziris Biennale, a contemporary art festival that draws artists and visitors from around the world, keeping in line with the essence of Muziris. It's a reflection of Kochi's continuing evolution as a cultural crossroads where art, history, and modernity intersect. So, after the collapse of Muziris, the next period that is recorded in Kochi's history is when the rulers near Panani region moved here after their land was annexed and formed the Kingdom of Cochin. So, there are so many aspects of history that you can still see are prevalent practices in people's lives. And I don't have a horse in this race, but a lot of you might know, as I discovered when I was living here in Kochi, there is some kind of rivalry between Kochi and Calicut or Kozhikode. There are debates about the better city, the better food between the two. The prominence of Kochi as a port increased, and slowly but surely, foreigners started coming in. Culture exchange began once again. Kochi's legacy has always been tied to its natural harbor. It's here that ancient traders, from the Arabs to the Chinese to eventually the Europeans, came to buy and sell valuable commodities. Still, the port at Kozhikode held superior economic and political significance. During this time, a power tussle was still going on between Kochi and Kozhikode. Owing to a great number of foreign travelers, Kochi was of interest to a lot of those travelers. The Ming dynasty at the time from China decided to intervene and provide protection to the Raja of Cochin. This pattern continued over the years when, after the Chinese, protection was provided to Cochin by the Portuguese. The Zamorin of Calicut fought against the Portuguese. Vasco da Gama, who a lot of the residents of Kerala and Goa and properties under Portuguese rule might know, was the first European to travel to India, and he found the sea route which connected the Indian subcontinent with Europe. He bombed the Zamorin of Calicut as agreed with the Raja of Cochin, which invited the Zamorin's anger, and this led to a full-fledged battle between the two kingdoms. However, the Portuguese help ensured victory for Cochin. And as part of the deal, by the 1500s, the Portuguese had taken over the port of Kochi. After a few years of the Portuguese rule, the Dutch took over. Then they went on to establish the first municipality in the Indian subcontinent, known as Fort Kochi. And finally, it was the British period. During the British rule, there occurred a massacre in Fort Kochi, known as the Great Fire of Cochin, in the late 1800s. After the British took over, they aimed to suppress local shipbuilding to favor British interests. In this context, Chandrabhanu, a 315-ton vessel constructed by local shipbuilders, symbolized local enterprise. The British authorities had imposed a court order to restrain the ship's owner from using it. The fire was huge, and the city's infrastructure was in ruins. To commemorate the tragedy, a memorial pillar was erected, which still stands on the beach near Fort Kochi as a testament to the event. Despite its scale, this event is less well known compared to other historical fires, coincidentally, such as the Great Fire of London. Isn't it ironic? After independence, the contemporary Kochi boasts of modernity. The growth of Kochi has been rapid, and so has the increase in the number of Instagrammable cafes. Yet somehow the land still reflects the different cultures that have come, spent time here. It feels like it has absorbed something from each one of them, and it still shows in some aspect or another here. I am still unraveling the reason why I've connected to this place so much, but on the journey to that answer, I have loved exploring everything that I can about this place. I have really cherished my time here, and I keep coming back. It makes me so nostalgic at this point because my love for this place started in 2019 when I first visited. So I hope you guys get to experience places, fall in love with them, and truly get to know them in a raw way. It's nice to immerse oneself in a culture different from yours. You can see the common thread of similarity in not just the same countrymen but humanity in general. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in a video soon. Bye.